Alright everyone, welcome to Street City Studio. I'm John, and today I'm working on some 3D models. I don't really show this off a lot on the channel, but I have played with one or two videos early when I first started the channel. But for those of you that don't know, this head of me on this figure is a 3D scan that I made of myself, by myself, and printed and painted myself as well. And so today, what we have here is my computer screen, and we're going to look at another model here. Let me pull this in, just like this. I've taken a 3D model scan, and this was real quick and kind of sloppy, and I'm going to point some things out here as we go too. My scanner is not great, and so anytime I take a scan, either I'm not going to get a scan at all, or it's going to need a lot of repair work. And at first glance, this scan looks really sharp, really clean, but it does have some problems here that I'm going to point out, and we're going to look at, I'm going to have to work on. But again, this is my brother, and I can't say thanks enough to my brother Jessy. I'll tag him. He's got a channel, Growing Shells. He's got his own YouTube channel called Growing Shells, about his fish tanks and his turtles and whatnot. So I'll include that. But he was kind enough to let me take a scan of him. And some of you guys know, some of you guys that follow the channel well enough know, this is the brother that gave me all the toys. So you might be happy to see him finally, huh? I know I'm definitely happy to share him on the channel in such a way. But back to the issues with the model. Several things it includes a lot of this background and stuff that I will have to cut off, right? But also because this is a toy, right? We're talking about a toy here. I'm not going to need any of this really, right? So that'll all get cut off, right? Just like this, right? Got cut off right there, kind of at the jawline, basically, right? And so you can imagine his, likewise, I'll get cut off right in here somewhere, right? But it's definitely kind of exciting, right? Because we're twins. If you didn't realize yet, we are twins. But it'll be cool to have twin figures as well. But back to some of these discrepancies, it looks like some sort of blob over here on his ear. If I can, yeah, there's a good kind of look at it. You can kind of see it there, right there. Yeah, it looks like some sort of wart or something on his ear that's not there in real life. That's just kind of information discrepancies in the scan. Another thing I'm noticing is a bulge on his forehead here, pretty prominent, kind of squared out. And it's hard to show, but it didn't exactly catch a lot of information on the back of his head either. It's hard because it's on a cord. It's a short cord. It's hard to go all the way around something sometimes. Yeah, see? And so all that gray, it kind of caught a silhouette of a shape, but it didn't catch the information. But we're not printing in full color and whatnot anyways, so that's not the end of the world. But it looks like Looks like this ear has some confusion. Let me turn this. Yeah, it looks like the ear is pretty misshapen. It seems to come to a point a bit. And this top shape seems a little rough. Yeah, it's hard to tell, but you kind of get the idea, I think, right? And even his chin seems a little kind of pushed in a bit. Maybe just his beard looking crookedy. Right? But we can deal with most of these problems, I want to say fairly easily, but I mean, it all takes time, right? Even his nose, it looks pretty sharp. It looks pretty good. Now we jumped over to Blender here, right? And we lost all of the color information, basically. And I did trim that background off, right? That big piece back there, and we can even jump back. You can see. Right, all of that had to go. I had to trim it. But so we're over here in Blender, and this is where I'll actually do most of the work. But like I said, you can see some of this stuff a little better in the clay gray. Right? You can definitely see this forehead bulge. Right. And so I'll have to, I haven't done it yet, but I'll have to trim that in, just smooth it out, make it shaped more appropriately. And you can see the back of the head, while it didn't really have all the information, most of the shape is there. It seems like we got some corners on the top of the head here a bit. But I can soften that down a lot. And even this ear, right? The ear's a little cleaner than I was expecting it to be. It is about what I thought, though, right? It's got a kind of a point right here. And there's not a lot of depth on the inner ear there. No, okay. Now I'm looking, right? I thought the nose was pretty clean, and it's not bad. But, knowing my brother's face and knowing, I don't want to say I know this software like a pro. I'm not a pro. But as well as I know it, and just looking at it, the nose is not as good as I thought it was, right? In here. You can kind of look at the nose, and it looks pretty decent. It doesn't look misshapen, but there's definitely some caved in here, and or some bloated puffiness here. I'm trying to decide. It's definitely caved in right here. This can get filled out a little more. So that's what I'll have to do. But I'm not going to sit here and do all of that on screen for you guys. I find that that's probably a boring video. But I know some people like to see some of this stuff too. I know. I kind of get a big kick out of seeing, especially people I know, right? I got a big kick out of seeing myself transformed into action figure form there. And likewise, I've done a 3D scan of my daughter's face. I haven't printed it, but I get a big kick out of this. This is very neat technology. right? And it very much is sculpting, right? Because I do, right? I start with a nice base here, but I got to come in here, right, and reshape this stuff. Let me go sculpt mode. Pull this out so I can read it. Let's see here. Inflate. Oh, no, that's not it. Come on. 50, oboe. 20. Strength. 0.01. Alright, so I'm going to try and inflate that a little bit. See? I went too soft, maybe. I'll go with 0.03. Even that's kind of... Let's try that. Oh, that's too subtle. Let me go with... We'll go with clay strips. There we go. See, and come in there and just build that nose up. Just like that, see? Until it's more recognizable. And then there's a whole menu of options: smoothing tools, scraping tools, and this isn't going to be any kind of Blender tutorial, right? But just to kind of give you an idea of the process, really. Of what it takes to make a 3D scan custom of myself, for, in this case, my twin brother, in 3 3/4. Now, another thing, we haven't talked a lot about this. Let me kind of zoom out here. But when making a toy in 3 3/4 from a 3D scan and stuff, I was talking to my brother about this too, right? A lot of detail is going to get lost, right? Let me try and turn this, right? Like, you can see my brother's eyes were open for the scan, right? But you can't see an eyelid or any of that. And likewise, the eyes on this are painted, right? It probably look more like that, just a smooth kind of socket. And so things like maybe the corners of a mustache or a hairline, right, might need to be exaggerated just a tiny bit in order to bring them out in the right detail. Because once you drop it down to 3 3/4, it's going to lose a lot of detail that was there, right? Like, I can give you a great kind of example real quick here. Let me see. We'll do draw sharp. I'll go on the back of the head here. Oh, it's not working. There we go. Alright. And so, just for example, if I wanted to sculpt in a bunch of hairlines like this, right? On the model here, it might look very textured, right? But then when I drop it down to scale to print at this scale, right, you're not going to see most of that detail is going to get lost in the resolution, right? And so you might see a little bumpiness or waviness where those lines were, but you won't have as much, because this is a full scale head right now, right? But when you drop it down to there, you're gonna lose certain details. And so certain details, like I said, you might want to try and accent or exaggerate, right? Like this mouth, right? I might cut it in a bit so that it's more prominently a mouth, right? And likewise, I want it cut in exactly, but around the mustache, right? Me and my brother, we both have mustaches, right? But in this model, it's coming across as very flat. And again, I could try and get a cleaner scan, but at some point I have to accept that I'm going to have to do a certain amount of work no matter how clean the scan, right? Just because, like I said, my scanner's not the best, and it's my understanding even that really good scanners are still gonna have to do some of this level of work, right? But now I kind of ruined this. I didn't save it or anything, just reload it in, right? Let me go with object mode, delete. But I mean, you get the idea, right? I'm gonna have to clean that ear up a lot. That thing. And I'm surprised. Normally I get more of those. I must be getting better with this scanner, because I only got the one big blob on the ear. And usually in a scan, right, on my own scan, I had a couple blobs. And even on the shirt, right, there's a lot of spikes that I had to, well, because of the way I cut the head off, it didn't matter, but I had remembered thinking if I was using the shoulders, I would have had to have cleaned it up. And even at that point, I had done a lot of my original practicing. A lot of the practicing I did was on those bits like this, like the shirts, right, that I was never even going to use. I'll switch over to sculpt, right? But I would come in and try and clean that up, right? Get it looking presentable, right? Let's see. Right, a lot of these, I don't necessarily always know what to call them, but you get a lot of noise and information that's not supposed to be there, right? And you just come in and smooth it out, clean it up, and it makes such a huge difference. But that's basically what it is noise and information being picked up where there shouldn't be. And so you just gotta kind of smooth out the rough spots and tighten it up, cut off, trim the trim the bits. And like I said, his forehead's gonna need some work, and I'm not gonna do all that right here with you guys. I feel like that'd make such a boring video. As soon as I run out of stuff to talk about, I'm cutting it out, But like I said, The back of the head came out a lot cleaner than I was expecting. I just gotta kind of, it's got the corners right here. Right. His forehead is kind of bulging. But that'll be real cool to be able to get both of us in some of these shoots, right? Let me get that light on. I feel like I need that light on every time I hold them up, but I don't like the hot spot it's causing. I wasn't really setting lighting up for this just because I was on the screen, I guess. It is what it is. But it'll be cool to have the both of us for some of these shoots. Maybe even get some co-hosted episodes out of them, right? You guys, let my brother Jessy know in the comments. No, don't do that. He'll probably hate it. Don't make no demands on him. But it's really exciting. It's cool. I want to get some more scans, some more people. But once I get it all cleaned up, get it where I like it, right? Like that mustache. Look, you can just make it out, but I feel like it's so faint when I print it, right? His mustache will end up being painted on, so I'm gonna want to fill that out just a little bit, just make it a little bigger, right? And likewise, I'm gonna have to straighten this out, bring it centered a little bit. Fix that ear. He's got elf ear going on, man. Maybe he's an elf. I'm gonna have to take a second look. I don't think he has elf ear though. Yeah, both ears. Ears are tough, I think, just because the scanner, like I said, anything too small even, it's not scanning at all. If it's smaller than a head, I can't get it. Any kind of like I'm trying to think, like one of my action figures, even some of my largest action figures, it won't scan at all. But people's heads, it does all right with enough, like I said, to this degree. And I really do like being able to come in here with the color. I mean, you can really get an idea. You can even see the details on his shirt. That's pretty cool. But I'll be working on that. My printer's kind of buried at the moment, so I don't know when I'm going to get it physically printed. But hopefully it'll be a better print than this. Because we haven't talked about it a lot, but the plastic I used for this is really stiff and hard and brittle. So it doesn't have the flex and softness you might want from hands and heads on action figures. But I was studying what people do about that, and there's other plastics, and I did buy some. I do have some. Let me see, where is it? Not really a plug or anything, but I do have, this is supposed to be a softer, yeah, there, where is it? Super Flex resin that I'm gonna mix, probably like a 70-30 with the more brittle plastic I used for that one, so that hopefully I get something a little closer to what normal action figures usually come with, right? Because it's well known that you want a softer plastic for the heads and the hands, at least, right? And then you want a harder plastic for things like the posts, right, and the neck, right? But I mean, this one may do with the harder plastic. It just I gotta keep that sticky tack in the neck hole because it doesn't really grip a ball. It's just wide open, you know. I could fill it with some hot glue, but I kind of like being able to swap his head onto other figures. If you haven't noticed that yet, that's something I do a lot. Trying to think if there's anything else I need to talk about before we get out of here. There's definitely a lot of work to be done on the model. Oh wow, I don't know if I even noticed that, but you can see like that. Look. See, that's what I was saying, the funny corners. So I'll have to like fill that out and then shave the corners down a bit and then see where we're at. Look at that. It's crazy stuff, man. And even when I was working on my own, right? I thought it was kind of crazy stuff. You can come in here and do like, where is it? I'll do grab, right? And grab his nose. I got your nose. Check it out, bro. I got your nose. Right? Come in here. Where is that? Thumb in your eye, right? Not that I want to hurt my brother. It's all in good fun. But these models should work pretty well. I'll probably have to put like, I don't know, 3 hours or something into cleaning it up, and then another hour or so printing maybe, because see, resin printers will print something like this real quick, like an hour or less or something, you know, not very long. But it's also kind of a waste to just print like one head, so I gotta come up with like a few new things to print when I go to print this. I was thinking about maybe running like an army of my heads as kind of like something I could give away or something. I don't know. I don't know how many people would be interested in John heads. Right? But it was a thought I was having. Print up a bunch of my heads. Make an army of Johns. Like a Slim Shady video or something. Right? But this is exciting stuff. It's cool stuff. It's not every day that I get people's permission to scan their face, and it's a process, you know. So you got to sit there through it. It's not. I mean, it wasn't the longest or most painful process, but it's a little tedious, and you know, I know my daughter especially. She wasn't super thrilled sitting through the process. She would get real antsy. I gotta go. I don't want to sit here no more. Do I have to sit here more? You know, and so I appreciate anytime anybody is willing to sit down for me for the half hour or whatever it takes, because sometimes that first scan doesn't look real good. You do it a couple times until you get a good one. But so I wanted to say thank you, Jesse. I appreciate you sitting through this. I appreciate you letting me use your face in my video here, and likewise printing. I'm gonna be printing an action figure, at least one for me, maybe one for you too. But like I said, my brother's not focused on action figures these days like I am, so that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. But I think that's about it, right? We're gonna wrap it up here. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me and my brother Jesse, right? If you're into fish and turtles and stuff, I recommend you go check out his channel over there, Growing Shells. I'll leave a link in the description. But otherwise, go give my Facebook a follow. Check out my Instagram for my toy photography. I'll leave the links for those in the descriptions as well, right? Otherwise, have a great day. Have a great rest of your week. I appreciate you coming by. Keep playing with them toys. I'll talk to you again real soon.